everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the New York Community Center for Spiritual Living. I am your fearless leader, Reverend Loretta. So if everyone could get seated, I would appreciate that. Thank you. This morning we are starting a new theme for the month of August, which is creativity. And we're going to be talking about creativity throughout the service. I am going to do the spiritual mind treatment. Emily is going to do the reading. And our guest artists this morning, for some reason, are not here with us. So I said I'm your fearless leader. So what we're going to do is we're going to have some music for you, which Yoichi can put together. So I selected two songs. One is A Wonderful World, and the other one is Karen Drucker. I'm sure all of you have heard her, The Face of God. So when something happens, this is really a great testimony to what we do when something comes up that's unexpected. We go with the flow, and we don't, we just kind of keep on keeping on. So, okay, so having said all of that, let's get seated, let's get quiet. You can close your eyes or keep them open. And I am going to do a spiritual mind treatment for each and every person in this room, including the speaker. So let's know. There is one life, one power, one divine intelligence which operates in, around, through, and upon the conscious mind of each and every person in this room this morning, knowing for each and every one that the divine intelligence of God is now creating through each individual. Each individual then is more connected to the source than ever before. Each one is connected by this word. Each one knows that he or she is a gift. And through this lesson this morning, through the reading, through the music, every person in this room is cooperating with the divine spirit, knowing that as they know within themselves that they are one with the one, through this oneness comes a wonderful lesson that blesses everyone. Individually and collectively, we are knowing the truth together. And when we know it together, we know something greater, something better is happening for us than anything has happened before. And we know that as we go forward throughout this day, throughout this week, that we are co-creators with God, and we are creating more joy, more inspiration, more love, and more peace of mind. Any thought patterns that anyone has had when they came in this morning of resistance, rejection, rebellion, any fear or anger is completely neutralized and dissolved. Each person says, "Peace, be still, and know that I am God." And each one knows that with God, all things are possible. So each one is knowing for himself or herself the truth, the higher truth, the oneness, the blessings. And so every person in this room demonstrates something wonderful this week. I know this to be the truth, and I know that as a result of this word, everyone in this room has greater health, greater wealth, greater creativity and self-expression, and more loving, harmonious relationships. This word is the truth, and now it is placed into the law with love and gratitude, knowing with conviction that it is done. I say, thank you, Spirit, so be it, and together we say, and so it is, and that is the way it is. And now please help me welcome Emily, one of our licensed practitioners, and she is going to do our reading this morning. Emily.
As Loretta said, sometimes things don't quite go the way you thought they were going to go. So this morning as I'm leaving my apartment, Spirit told me to take my book with me. And I go, am I supposed to do the reading today? So I looked in my email, which I hadn't checked yesterday. It's like, oh no. So these are my subway selections. Fortunately, in 365 Science of Mind, there's a whole chapter on creativity. And it opens with a quote from Ernest Holmes. "We are chemists in the laboratory of the infinite. What then shall we create?" So my selection is "The infinite law of good brings me complete satisfaction. There is a power operating through me, a presence inspiring, guiding, and sustaining me. Upon this power, I place my reliance. In this presence, I feel myself to be an outlet of immeasurable good, because I am in this divine presence, and because it is in me, and because this divine has all power. I know that my thought is made manifest in a perfect demonstration of health, of harmony, and of success. I know that the creative law of good is infinite and has all power to accomplish. I know its whole desires for me is freedom and joy. Therefore, I declare that freedom and joy are mine today. This freedom and joy are expressed spontaneously in my experience, and there is nothing within me that can hinder this expression. Because this all good is mine, and because it constitutes the only presence there is in the universe, I know that freedom and joy cannot be separated from me. I am conscious that there is an infinite wisdom directing me. Whatever I should know, I will know. Whatever I should do, I will do. Whatever belongs to me must come to me. And because of this infinite intelligence that is mine and that is within me now, I am compelled to recognize my good, to see more, to understand and accept and express more. I know the infinite creative law of good is always bringing complete satisfaction into my life. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful reading. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate that. And now we have our announcements. So this morning and today after the service, we have our group treatment for everyone. So if you need a treatment, please avail yourself of that service. We do that once a month at the beginning of the month. And the third week, we're going to have our meditation, which will be wonderful. And I'm going to be doing a workshop the third week after service, so that will also be very good, I'm sure, even if I do say so myself. And let's see, what else is coming up? We have this wonderful man. He's just incredible. And I kind of mix things up a little bit. You know, does that ever happen to anyone? Well, anyway, I fixed it all. It's all fixed. It's all okay. It's all good. But this man that is coming here is so amazing. I thought he was in Earth, Wind, and Fire. I may have told you that. He's not in Earth, Wind, and Fire. He's working with someone in Carnegie Hall that's part of Earth, Wind, and Fire. But he's a meditation teacher. Let me tell you about him a little bit as part of the announcements. He studied for 15 years in the Himalayas with the Tibetan monks. He does voice and musical meditation. He studied with Beauregard. I don't know if you know him. He's one of the 100 greatest minds in science of the 21st century. This man is really amazing. You know, I think he's going to come in here and walk on water the way I'm introducing him. But I think he's going to be wonderful for each and every one of us because he's going to teach us how through meditation that you can shift things and that you can change your consciousness. And I was saying to someone, you know, it's very interesting because when we had our group consciousness and we had our community meeting, many of you had requested meditation. I remember that specifically. And so this is what we are demonstrating. This man is coming to us September 23rd, so mark your calendars. He is asking for an offering of $25. He does come here from another place, so you know that should not be a problem for any of you. And I would not say to any of you, if you cannot afford to pay, we would certainly allow you to be part of it. But it is a $25 fee, which I'm sure it will be very worthwhile for each and every one of you. He spent so many years doing meditation, and he goes around the country studying meditation and creating meditation for everyone and teaching it. And he's going to be at Carnegie Hall, and I'm definitely going to that. And then he will be with one of the members of Earth, Wind, and Fire. So I mixed that up a little bit. When I saw him, I said, no, I don't think this guy is in Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know, he's so calm and so, you know, you look at his picture and it's amazing. He has this picture of peace about him. So anyway, having said all of that, I already explained to you about our musicians this morning. The Levins were supposed to be here and I don't know what happened, but as a result, and we're going to wish everybody a happy Sunday, but then we're going to have some wonderful music. Thank you, Yoichi. We're going to have Louis Armstrong, A Wonderful World. So let's wish each other a happy Sunday right now, okay? Happy Sunday, Sean. It's so good to see you. How's everything? I've been shooting for you.
Oh, thank
good?
you.
Did you get my card?
Not yet.
Oh, I sent it. I sent it about 5 days ago. Yeah?
I'll look
Okay.
in my, I have a
Okay,
stack.
okay, okay. Yeah. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Oh, nice to see you. How are you? Pleasure. Yeah. Everything good. Okay. So now we're going to be listening to Louis Armstrong. Take it away, Yoichi. Thank you, Yoichi, and thank you, Louis. We appreciate that, right? That was great. Okay, so this morning we're going to be talking about, from the lesson, your creative self. And the theme this month is creativity. Every person in this room is a creative person. We all are. And one of the things that I notice about this teaching, and I always say that when you come in, you will leave feeling better than when you came in this morning. And I know that for each and every one of you this morning. I definitely know that. But creativity, what does it mean? And part of the lesson was based on Ernest Holmes' book called Creative Mind. I really, really like that. I highly recommend it. This is a lesson about the creative self. And how many of you were here last week when Shonda spoke? That was really wonderful. It really was. She gave us a great lesson. And she's going to be visiting John of God for a couple of weeks. And then I'm sure she'll be back and she'll be sharing a lot of her experiences with us. I only went there once, and she's been there 3 or 4 times already, and she's just growing and doing all these amazing things. So we're very grateful to her for that. That was a wonderful talk. Creativity, what does it mean when we talk about creativity? And the way that I want to explain that is by looking at your creativity, who you are as a human being and who you are as a spiritual being are 2 different things. And I'm not really speaking to you about the ego, because the ego is always trying to get you to do things to, say that maybe you're limited or you don't have enough or this or that. But there is this greater self that we all have. There is this self that is divine, that is intelligent, that knows all things. And one of the things that I've discovered as I've been looking at all of the different information for preparing this lesson is that each and every one of us, when we begin to use this creativity and this creative self that is always there for us, we are coming out of the mind of God. We are praying from the mind of God, not from our limited intelligence, not from the limitations, but from the creative genius that each and every one of us are. And sometimes it's hard to hear those words. We say, oh, if you look at someone like Steve Jobs, or if you look at someone like Dr. Martin Luther King, or if you look at all of these different people, we would say, well, they were geniuses. They did things extraordinary. And one of the things about this teaching is that we are learning that we are, each and every one of us, also able to do things that are extraordinary, yes. And that comes because we are part of this thing called spirit. The spiritual identity that we have is very, very important to us. So I want to share a little story with you this morning that really inspired me this week. So I went to the movies this week, and I saw the movie 3 Identical Strangers. It was really interesting. It was kind of like a documentary. I won't tell you about it. You may want to go and see it. But having seen that, it was very touching and very moving about the human condition and how people believe in genetics and all of that, and the difference in our teaching, because we believe that we have these spiritual genes. And we do, each and every one of us, and yet no one talks about it. But one of the things I want to share with you this morning is this, I was channel surfing, kind of looking at different things, and I came upon these 3 African-American ministers. I don't even know what station they were on. I have no idea, and I'm saying station, that's really dating me. But whatever it was, they were talking about prison reform. And this is what I want to share with you because it is so vital. And this one man was so eloquent the way he spoke. He said, the 3 of us went to the White House, and he said, we met with the president, and we got all kinds of flack for it. He said, we were told off, we were up and down, why did you do that, blah, 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 blah. But this one man spoke up and he said something that really touched me. And I want to share it with you because I think it's vital. He said, I am doing something for the higher good of humanity. I am working on prison reform. What does that have to do with anybody who's in the White House? If they're willing to work with me to do something for the good of all of these people. And the reason I'm sharing this with you, because I don't do politics, I really don't, but the reason I'm sharing this is because I want you to understand something. I want you to really be able to become part of a spiritual identity where you begin to work for the good things in life. These people were sharing that they were working to get people out of prison who had been there and wrongly convicted. There's a woman that got out of prison who had spent 20 years of her life in prison. Maybe some of you heard about her. And she got out of prison because she was pardoned, or they were going to keep her there for another 10 years, and all she had done was smoked marijuana or did something with marijuana 20 years ago, which is ridiculous. So the reason I'm saying this to you is because your creativity can take you wherever you want to go. And when you have a purpose that is a higher purpose, when you are doing something for the good of other people, you have to let go of, which is what this minister was talking about, the idea of who or what or when. You're just working, and you're working with spirit. And that goes for everything that we do in our lives. We are told sometimes, don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that, all of that. No one can tell you anything but you. Because what other people are saying to you sometimes is what's good for them. But when you get clear about what's good for you and you begin to work with this divine part of yourself, you will demonstrate. You will demonstrate good things in your life because you have something within you that is so creative. It is called your creative self, your divine self. I don't do politics. Honestly, I don't. I really don't. But I wanted to share that with you this morning because I think it's so important when you are working for anyone, for yourself, for other people, you have to surrender. And that's what's happening with these ministers. They are surrendering and they are willing to take the heat and the flack of whatever is happening for the higher good of the people that are living in prison. You understand? They are willing to do this. What are you willing to do for yourself or for other people to help yourself so that you can become a part of your divine identity instead of the limited part of us? When we identify with the limited part of us, it tells us all the reasons why we can't do something, and we need to understand why we can. We really need to get that spiritual part of us, the divine I, that part of us that is always saying yes. I love something that Ernest Holmes says in this book, Creative Mind. He says, the trouble with us has been that we have laid down great obstructions and then tried to overcome them. Isn't that interesting? So we are the ones that put up the blockages, that put up the things that happen. And then he says, stop trying, stop struggling, begin to be calm. Begin to trust the higher laws of life. Even though you do not see them, they are still here. This is what I am talking about for all of you. You know, we say we want to demonstrate something. I have someone that I'm working with who is talking to me about different kinds of situations where he's involved with selling things. I'm not going to say anything more about it, but he's putting all these blocks in front of himself. And I'm working with him and I'm saying to him, why are you putting these blocks up? What are you telling yourself? This is part of our creativity, you see? If we are creating, that means that every day when we wake up in the morning until we go to sleep at night, we are always creating something out of the mind. But if you will release the human limited mind and go to the higher mind, the higher self, the greater self, some people call it the higher power. It doesn't matter what you call it, it's always there for you. It's always constructive. We are the ones that mount the obstacles, and then we try to find ways to get out of it, right? Look at television today. Not exactly a joy. One of the shows that I was watching, I looked at it for like 5 minutes and I said, oh my goodness, I can't take this. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. And the name of the movie, and I would not recommend it for anyone, was called A Plan to Escape. And it was unbelievable. Sometimes I wonder, would I rather look at the news than look at that? I think the news would be a better choice. The reason I'm showing you all of this and saying this to you this morning is because you have to begin to align yourself with that power. If there's something that you want to do, you have to be the one that knows that you can do it. You have to know that there's this creative genius within you that knows how to do things. It's the same genius that was used by each and every inventor in this country. Thomas Edison, Ford, George Washington Carver. All of these people who had ideas, Albert Einstein, all of these ideas didn't come from their limited self, came from their own connection and alignment with the power. Bob Dylan. I love the interview he had. I know I shared this with you, but on 60 Minutes, they had an interview, and he is very eccentric, yes? But he's very smart, and he's a very good songwriter. He's written some beautiful music. And they said to him on 60 Minutes, it's amazing how you write all of these songs. And you know what he said? You really think I wrote these songs? I didn't write these songs. They looked at him, what do you mean? He said, I just got out of the way and let them come through me. And that's what we have to do, you see? We have to let go of constantly thinking that it's about the media. You know, they're fighting out there. Have you noticed that? They're really in a big fight. They're in such a big fight. You know, they've got their gloves on. You know, it's like watching Rocky in the ring all over again. It's really something. You have to, I have a sense of humor, I'm sorry, I have to. It keeps me going. It keeps me going. But you have to be able to align yourself with this power, this principle for good in the universe. We are taught about this. Whatever you are going through it with the genius within you. You are a co-creator with spirit. And so as you do your treatment work and you do your prayer work, you ask for and receive divine guidance, but you also get out of the way. And you know that the great spirit of life is doing the treatment work through you. You see, the first step in spiritual mind treatment is recognition. We are recognizing that there is a power and presence for good in the universe, and we are at one with it. You see? We are aligned with this power for good. And this power is always blessing us. It's not the kind of power. Some people get this so mixed up and they think they have power over other people. You ever meet people like that? I met a few of them this week. And I'm going to say that you don't have power over anybody but yourself. You see? Even if you're working with people, you're there to be in service. That's how I think. That's how I think. I'm in service as all of us are to other people. And we are co-creating with God and with spirit. And the more anger, you know, we don't need to contribute. In this teaching, this is something else that's coming through me right now. This is something that was written by Reverend David Alt in the Daily Meditations in August. And I called him and I emailed him. And I said, David, I love your meditations for this month. And he wrote back and he said, thank you, Loretta, and sends blessings to our center. He's a wonderful human being. He's a minister in Atlanta, Georgia. He said that we are the pioneers in this teaching. And I want you to think about this because that word kept coming up this week, pioneer. What does it mean to be a pioneer? If you think about the history of this country, the pioneers were people who came in here and who began to carve out a future, right? So we are pioneers in our thinking because we are choosing to think differently than the rest of the people are thinking. We are choosing to know that we are aligned with a power and a presence for good and that it will demonstrate in our lives as we begin to use it. As we nurture it, it nurtures us. As we love it, it loves us. It is the law of correspondence or reciprocity, whatever you would like to call it. It is ours. And we cherish it, and we bless it, and we know that it's there for us. You see, but this is different. So we are pioneers. We are carving out a whole new consciousness in the world. Do you see that? We are the beginners, and it's always tough to be a beginner. It's tough to be a pioneer. Yoga. Many people do yoga today. When I started doing yoga, they thought I was out of my mind. They thought I was crazy. I was in a school system. I would walk by, and I told you this, the kids would go, Om, because I did yoga. And this is really what is happening now, you see? Because we are learning, we are doing something different. But the rest of the world is going to catch on. Ernest Holmes said many years ago that this would be the teaching for the 21st century. And I believe that. We're starting out with a mission that says that we want a world that works for everyone. Now, if you went out there now and told somebody that, they might put you away somewhere because you're saying something like that, because it's a beginning. It's a statement that we are saying, but we will be creating it. So what I want to share with you this morning is, what are you creating in the world? What is your world like? What is your economy like? What are your relationships like? Each area of your life, you are a co-creator with spirit. And if you do your spiritual work each and every day, your life is improving every day. You are having greater health. I visited my brother this week, and my brother is in a rehab down at the shore. And I'm sharing this with you because my brother and I are very close in age. And when I saw him, it was very hard for me, very, very hard. He is not in good shape at all because of the challenges he's had in his own life. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because he did not awaken. We are awakened. I feel like I'm awake. Are you awake? I'm just checking. But there's two kinds of awakes, you see. There's the kind of awake where you sit there and you pretend you're awake because you don't want to be rude. But there's the kind of awakening that you are awakened to the spiritual identity within you. You are part of spirit. And when you awaken to that, you can't go back. You can't go back. You can only go forward. My teacher used to say that all the time, and now I understand what he's talking about. I may go back a little bit, but then I go forward. I may go back a little bit. I may get angry. I may get upset. I'm human. But I always do my prayer work. I always do my meditation. Always. That's part of my practice. That's part of my creativity, you see? What would you ask Spirit for? What would you like to demonstrate in your life? Give it to God. Give it to Spirit. Maybe you're a singer. Maybe you're a writer. Maybe you're retiring soon. A lot of people tell me they're going to retire, and then they get scared, you see? That's the obstacle that Ernest Holmes is speaking about. He says we put obstacles there, and then we stress, strain, and struggle to remove them. But if you get still, if you are still and you know the truth will set you free, you see? The higher truth is that you are connected to this divine one, this divine spirit that is within you. I hear stories all the time about this teaching where people are demonstrating. They're going to different schools and they're learning and they're co-creating with God. Become a co-creator. Don't get attached, you see? Don't get attached to the stuff that is told. Go back to the truth of who and what you are. Because you are a spiritual being, you are a creative being. And you can do whatever it is that you would like to put your mind on. Tony Robbins is one of my favorite speakers, motivational speaker. He's the one that motivated Les Brown and taught him so much in his life. And Tony Robbins says, what you focus on, you will get more of, you see? So that's something also for all of us to learn about. What you are focusing on, what are you focused on? In the beginning of your day, are you telling yourself, I'm going to create a beautiful day today? How many people in here do that once in a while? Try and do it every day. It works better that way. I am a co-creator with Spirit. I am creating good health and wealth and joy and peace and all of the good things in my life. And the challenges come. But instead of fighting with them, be still and know. I love that. Because that's what Ernest Holmes is teaching us, you see? If you want to put on your gloves and get in the ring, that's fine. I don't really want to do that. I've chosen not to. I don't really want to do it. I have people all the time, what do you think of this? And blah, 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 blah. You know, and I'm just still, I'm just quiet. Sometimes people don't know what to do with that. They don't know where to go with it. You know what I mean? They don't know where to go with it. They want you to get up there and say blah, 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 blah. And I don't want to do that. Sorry, I just don't. And it's not that I'm any different than anybody else. That's not what I'm saying. Don't misunderstand me, because I'm not. It's just that I choose to participate in life with spirit and to have a higher purpose. I feel that I am in service to people all of the time and that I am doing good things. So that's my purpose. And as long as you're in service, everything works, you see? It's when we get into all this drama and all this stuff that that's what takes our creativity away from us. So when we are still and we know the truth and we know that there's a spiritual power within us that's willing to give to us whatever it is that we would like to have, we can be still and know the truth. Calming the mind. I can't wait for that meditation teacher to come here. I'm so looking forward to meeting him, because I just get this sense about him, just looking at his picture, that he's this kind of person, you know, when someone comes into a room and everything shifts. Remember the woman that came here many years ago from Self-Realization Fellowship? She was a disciple of Paramahansa Yogananda. And I said to her, you don't have to say anything. She didn't have to speak. Just to come into the room and shift the consciousness, because she had meditated for so many years. Those are the kinds of people that really are, and we are the kinds of people that are changing things, you see? We are pioneers, and we are creative geniuses. That's a word that nobody likes to, oh my God, I'm not a genius. Oh my God. The spirituality within you is a genius. Yes, it's true. There is a spiritual part of you that is a genius, that can give you whatever it is, that has all the information, all the intelligence. But listen to Ernest Holmes, you see? Listen to what he says. You know, this week there were a lot of obstacles. We had a lot of challenges with that credit card machine and different things on the phone, and I decided that I was just going to be calm and quiet about it, and it would all work out. And I know that it will. It will all work out. But I could have done a drama piece on that if it was 20 years ago. That would knock you out. I really could have. Because that's what I used to do. I was very good at that. Anybody know what I'm talking about? So instead of doing that, now I work with a solution. I really work with a solution. That's what we do. If there's a health challenge and we need something to happen for us, we have to go to that higher power, that spirituality, and know that there is a healing force that is healing our body, our mind, and all of our affairs. Whatever it is, whatever the need is, Spirit is there for us. Ernest Holmes, in this wonderful book, also says something that I love. He says, if we are in harmony with the great forward movement of the Spirit, there is nothing that can hinder our advancement. If we oppose it, somewhere along the line, it will crush us. As with individuals, so with nations. And then he says, we must let the unfoldment of Spirit be the very thing that blesses us all of the time. There is a power within us that is always blessing us. There is a power within us that is co-creating for us. That power knows what to do and knows how to do it. And when you let go and allow the Spirit to operate upon your consciousness, when you let go and say yes to the Spirit, you are creating with it. Whatever the need is, it is a need that you may have. Whatever it is that you would like to have in your life, allow it to be a part of you. Allow that creativity in you to draw everything that you need, require, and desire for right action and right knowing. Whatever I need to know is known. That's Louise Hay. She said it every day. I studied with her many years ago, and I was very amazed because she was a woman who always practiced and always did all of this work on her consciousness. And when she passed away, which was not so long ago, at the age of 92 in her sleep, she left a legacy all over the country and in the world. Her book was published in 26 languages. 26 languages. She did a practice every day She said, whatever I need to know is made known, and whatever I need to do gets done on time and in divine right order. Those are her words. Those are creative words. Those are the words of the Spirit and the power within her. She blessed herself every day. She blessed her food every day. These are practices that we can do every day as part of our creativity. How many people in here have ever met a creative genius? How many people in here have ever looked in the mirror? So if you've looked in the mirror, then you have seen yourself and you have seen that greater self within you, and you honor it and you bless it and you know that it is with you. And you don't take it for granted. You see? I took it for granted for a very long time because I would sit in Dr. Grayson's classes without practicing. I would listen to him, I would write notes, but I didn't practice. And I said, boy, this guy's really amazing. Every day I'd go in there, he's incredible. Oh my God, the clarity and but what was I doing for me? You see? That's the key. That's what I'm telling you today. It's not about me, it's about you. You get into that mirror. This is what Louise used to teach. Do your mirror work. You love yourself on a daily basis. You bless yourself. You know that you are a part of spirit. You see? It's not about you come here, and I love that you come here because you could be somewhere else. That's what Shonda said last week. But we receive a blessing together, consciously and individually, collectively and individually. And when we receive that blessing, we know that we are part of the spirituality. The Spirit is within us. It is always blessing, uplifting, and inspiring us. And as we let go of the little self, we go to the greater self, and we allow the greater self to create through us. One of the great opera singers, Caruso, was he an opera singer? Yeah, okay, I got him right. He was an opera singer who used to say, I now let the little me go, and I let the greater me come out of me. And I love that. And you can do that too. Whatever it is that you are doing, do something in a greater way. Do something better for yourself. Really begin to recognize, I have confidence in myself. I know that I may feel a certain weakness in something, but there's a greater self within me that has clarity and intelligence and is guiding my life and is showing me what to do so that I know what to do and when to do it. And I know how to do it, whatever that may be. And so people say to me, well, what about when you're really hurting? You know, all of us have that. It's part of our emotional makeup. And when we are hurting, we need to release that. We need to surrender it. We need to go to spirit. But we need to accept our feelings. See, a lot of people in this teaching, they don't deal with their feelings. But we have to deal with our feelings. That great doctor, whose name I can't remember, he said, if you don't cry, your organs will. And I love that. I love that. It's okay to show your feelings. It's okay for you to feel things, you see? Feelings are really the power behind the treatment. You know, when you hear someone treat and they have that power, that comes from our emotions. That is part of who we are. That is part of our spiritual identity. So I am saying to you today to become your own creative genius, to become a part of that spirit within you, to allow it to bless you, to get out of your own way and to step into alignment with this power. Whatever it is that you would like to create in your life, most of us know what we are creating. We are always creating something. So in the beginning of the day, create a good day. And if something goes wrong, don't just say, well, I'm never practicing this again, it doesn't work. You just begin, you have a challenge, and you walk through the appearance. And you keep on walking, and you keep on going. Because life has challenges. Dr. Grayson would always say, to be with humans is to have challenges. Sometimes I'll say to some people, watch out for the humans. I like that. It's just a little fun. You know, I like to have fun. Fun is good, isn't it? It's good to have fun. Watch out for the humans out there. Yeah. I like to be a little silly sometimes. I think it's fun, you know. But I want you to know that you're part of this genius within you, this creativity, this joy. And this joy is always there for you. It's always revealing health and wholeness. And when someone comes to me for treatment, I'm always holding the high watch and knowing their highest and best good. And today we have our group treatment, which is going to be wonderful. So if you have something that you would like to demonstrate, please come and be a part of that group treatment this morning, because it's going to be really good for each and every one of us. I would like to also share something with you from Ernest Holmes' book again, which I really love. I love this also. He talks about something. He says, the way then that we are using mind through our thought is the way that we are treating ourselves for prosperity. The person who says, I have not, will not receive. If he says, I have, he will receive. She will receive. So what are you having for yourself? What are you in line with for yourself? Are you beginning to believe that you are part of this creative power, and this creative power moves through you, and you identify with it, and as you do so, you are releasing all patterns of stress, struggle, and fear, and you are having this divine identity, you see? You know, people talk about identity crisis. I think the crisis comes when you're not with spirit. When you're with spirit, when there's no separation, you know that there is something within you that is so powerful that it can heal and bless you. It can even knock out the stubbornness in some of us. Can anyone relate to being stubborn? That's a word, yes. That's a good word. Because you can pray to release the stubbornness from within you. You can pray for that. You can let that go. You can say, Spirit, I need help in letting go of this stubbornness. You see? If you have stubbornness about a person or a situation that you don't want to let go of. I have that right now. It's coming up. I have a situation with my sister where her and I are having some challenges, and I don't want to let go of that. So I'm aware of it. So what will I do with it? See, this is the key. Anybody that has a challenge in here, you have to be willing to let go of it the way you see it and go to the greater spirit. See it through spiritual eyes. Know it as spirit knows it. Spirit is beauty, truth, love, peace, power. Allow yourself to live your best life. Know that spirit is blessing you all of the time, that you are a co-creator with this genius that is within you. And if you have looked in the mirror, you have seen the genius, because the genius is you. You are a spiritual genius through your own identification with spirit. Spirit is really what gave all of the ideas. You know, the car, the airplane, all of that came from ideas in the mind of man, in the mind of people. Artistry, music, it all comes from spirit. It is all the way that we hook up with and align. Communication, some of you in here are great communicators. Communication comes from spirit. If you're doing an audition, some of you are in the theater or in acting, you can say to spirit, let my little self get out of the way and I align myself with my greater self, knowing that I will give the greatest performance of my life. And you do that every time you perform, not just once. There's not just one performance, there's so many of them. And you put enthusiasm into your words by treating for it. My words are filled with enthusiasm and they bless and inspire everyone. This is what you are telling yourself. This is part of your creativity. Don't waste it. I wasted it for a long time, and I'm very grateful today that I don't waste it anymore. Universal power is something so precious. Don't waste it. You know, it reminds me today of what we think about when we look at climate change. Some people don't believe in it, but I do. I really believe that we have got to work hard to save our environment. We don't want to waste things. Don't waste the power. That's really what's coming through me right now. Do not waste the power that is within you for one more day. Do not just sit here and take your notes and go home and say, I really like that service. I can't wait for next week. Go home and practice. Go home and do your prayer work. Go home and know that you are co-creating with God a greater life, and that that is a part of who you are. And if you are retiring, you have to ask yourself something. What am I afraid of? The unknown? It's interesting because I think about when I left my job at the high school, and my son said to me, Mom, you're kind of young to just, I said, yeah, that's true, but I know I'm leaving, and I'm leaving. And I don't know what's out there, but I know there's something out there. And that's what you have to know, that you'll be guided, you see? The Spirit is always guiding us. I ask for and receive divine guidance. I say it every day. I am always being guided, and I am so clear about that because I tell myself that every day. What do you tell yourself every day? Remember what Ernest said. I'm referring to him now as Ernest. Remember what he said about putting these obstacles out and then finding a way to neutralize and dissolve them. Let go of those obstacles. Let your mind be still. Be still and know. Those are words in the Bible. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that there is a spirit within you that is co-creating for you all of the time, and that it is creating wonderful conditions in your life, and you are allowing it to. So right now, in this moment, I would like to do a treatment for everyone for co-creation. So I am going to ask you to get still again, and we're going to know this truth. We're going to know that as we dissolve any resistance from our minds and our hearts, that we are open and receptive to the power. And we are beginning to get clear that power is a terrible thing to waste. They say a mind is a terrible thing to waste, but I say the universal presence within us is a terrible thing to waste. So right now in this moment, I am knowing for each and every one in this room, including the speaker, that this power resides within each and every one of us. And we accept that as an idea right now. And as we leave today, we leave with a clearer understanding of who we are. And we begin to use this power in a more constructive, more creative way, more dynamic way than we ever have before up until this point in time and space. We are, each and every one of us, co-creators. We are artists. We are part of the God system. And as we dwell on this idea, we get more clarity, more joy, more peace of mind, more prosperity, more self-love and self-respect. And we know that these are all ideas that come through us from the Spirit. So we let the little self move away and we allow the greater self to do the work through us, not only today, but each and every day this week. We are so blessed, and I am so grateful for all of the blessings that are bestowed upon us. For each and every person in this room is letting go of resistance, rejection, and rebellion. And as they let go, the peace of God, the power of God, the love of God, and the inspiration of God are joyously flowing through each and every one of us. We are part of the Spirit, and we no longer waste that. We move forward with it as an idea. We practice the presence each day, and we give thanks for what God has brought to our lives: peacefulness, clarity, and joy. I am so grateful for each and every person. I am so grateful for the love of Spirit in our lives that I simply say, thank you, Spirit, for the demonstrations. And I know that they are coming to each and every one of us with ease. And so with gratitude and love, I release the word into law, knowing it's done, so be it. And together we say, and so it is. And that is the way it is. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Okay, so